but actually we have taken 8. Similarly, you can see in the next iteration run, we are finding something. So which is not giving the exact number of the value for this particular data and actual number of cluster. And now after getting the value of k, you can go for the other algorithm which will find the better cluster. Now this is the elbow method to get the number of cluster automatically. Okay, so this is the part where we try to optimize through the single objective function. We have taken Philoty or WSS. Okay, so in the single objective function we have considered, and we try to find the number of cluster and cluster quality. Now when I can say that when I experimented, then I observed that this Philoty index, whenever I am dealing with the feature selections for this clustering problem, then I observed that this Philoty index is biased towards the size of, you will get the lesser number of the features. This Philoty will be biased and produce the higher value. Means that this Philoty is biased towards the subset size of the subset of the features. So this is some means biasing. So here we cannot prefer that we will take less number of features and we will apply the Philoty. So this will give some biased results. That's why it is required to drill this Philoty index as well as the feature selection simultaneously. So here this produces the problem of multi-objective optimization. Means we have multiple objectives. We have to deal with the number of the features as well as the cluster quality like the Philoty index simultaneously. So that's why here the multi-objective comes in the role. And now let us discuss some concept for the multi-objective optimization. So in the multi-objective optimization, you can apply in this clustering algorithm as well. So here we have multiple objective you have to optimize simultaneously. So here in the multiple, so in this case we don't have any single solution. All the solutions are dominant, non-dominated to each other. So we will see through the example how does it mean by the two solutions. Suppose one solution, suppose we have the minimization problem, and once we have two dimensions, one is the 5, another is the 7, but the another solution is having the 4, and then second coordinate is the 8. So you cannot say that uh, one is dominating to each other, because okay, in the first features it is less, but in the another feature it is more. So you cannot say that any these two solution is dominating to each other. So we will find something non-dominated solution which is non-dominated in the one of the criteria. So here we will get this kind of the fronts. We will get this kind of the fronts. So we will find the numbers of the solution. So let us discuss with the one example. Suppose you are the car manufacturer and you want to produce the car. So what basically you want to reduce the price of the car, but you want to give the more comfortability in the car. So definitely both are the conflicting factors. So so basically what basically as a car manufacturer you will give, okay, if your car price is the high, suppose 5 lakhs, so you will give the comfortability according to that. But your object, you have the suppose in the second example you have 7 lakhs value for that car, so you will give the more comfortability in that car. But as a car manufacturer, your purpose will be like that, you try to reduce the cost of the car and you want to increase the comfortability in the car, so you will get multiple solution because you will get the car on different range. Okay, so multiple solution. So this is very important, because if you want any customer want to purchase the car for the 3 lakhs, it is also available. For 20 lakhs, it is also available. So it is important to give some Pareto front, but you cannot say that this 20 lakhs car is better with respect to the 3 lakhs car, because you have paid more, that's why you got more comfortability. You paid less, then you got less comfortability. But you cannot say that this 20 lakhs car is better than 3 lakhs car with respect to means if you consider the cost, it is higher. If you consider the comfortability, they are providing more, so it is not dominating to each other. Okay, so the purpose is that you get the actual Pareto form, means optimized form. So here three parameters are important. Someone, you want to provide the good range of the cars, so it is important to extend this one. Then in the second one, you have the multiple choice. It means uniformly distributed. For example, you are giving the car for the 3 lakhs, then directly 10 lakhs. No, it should be, your car should be of the 4 lakhs, 5 lakhs range, 6 lakhs range. So based on the customer, they can opt as per their comfortability. So it is important that it should be normally distributed. Your solution should be normally distributed. Then convergence. Convergence means you have to converge to the optimal solution. You have to optimize in the all the aspect, both the aspect. Now here the important thing is that when we can say that one solution is dominating to other, if for at least one aspect it is non-dominated. Maybe in the, suppose you are considering the 3 features, in 2 features one is dominating to other, but in one aspect it is not dominating, so you cannot say overall this feature is dominating to other. Okay, so that's why it is important, at least one should be non-dominated. So here with the example, let us discuss how you will draw this Pareto front. So again, I am taking a very simple example. Suppose you have the 6 flights, A, B, C, D, E. 6 flights are there. Then how you will choose the flight? So here you can, in the first flight, we have 2 features. Travel times, we have 2 components, travel times and the ticket price. So here in the first case it is the 10, in the second case the ticket price is 5700. In this, whenever you see the B solution, okay, it is taking the less time but costing more. So you cannot say that both are dominating to each other. If you consider A, C, then what you are going to observe that again with respect to A, it is taking less time but giving more price. So with respect to A, no one I am getting the non-dominated, because everyone is the. Now consider the B. Okay, so in the B case, okay, this is taking less time but price is also less, means B will get dominated, because in the both objective it is dominating, because our purpose is to take less time as the more less price, less time and less price. So in C is better in both objective. Here the time taking is less and the cost is also less, so we will choose this solution. Then we will ignore this B solution. So 9 and 7000 means B solution will be dominated by C, so we will ignore the B solution. Similarly, whenever we check now you check the D with respect to the C. Now less time and more money, so you cannot say this is the better thing. Now just check with the E. Then what we are going to observe that this is taking less time and less money with respect to D. So D is also dominating. Now you check these 3 non-dominated. So these are not dominating to each other. So these A, C and E are non-dominated solutions. So you can see here these are called the non-dominated solutions. Okay, either means either in the one aspect they are not dominating, hence they are the non-dominated solution. So you cannot say that this E or C or A are poorer with respect to among these three, but this D and B are poorer solution, we will not opt for that one. So in this way, multi-objective optimization we can use for our problem. And even for the clustering problem, as I told, the CLOT is conflicting with this size of the selected features. So so in this case you have to apply, you have to go through the multi-objective optimization, then you will be able to give the actual solution. So that's why before going to apply this machine learning algorithm, you have to decide whether you are going through the single objective optimization or multi-objective optimization. You have to take, so these things you have to deal with that. In addition, you have already seen that pre-processing of the text is very important, and uh, we require a special intention for to process the text data. And then you can say again I want to include here that you can apply this machine learning methods in the new domain or application as per your requirement. Either you want to go for the single objective or multi-objective, and all these things, reprocessing, feature reduction, improving model, tuning sensitive parameters, all these are very important to enhance the methods for the machine learning model. So in this way you can process the this any text data, and you can get many real life data set on the these sites, Kaggle as well as UCI machine learning. So thank you.
Sir, can you elaborate on HMM used for clustering? That is hidden Markov model.
See, hidden Markov model, it actually I have not mentioned in this presentation, but I think I have not used that model, but I think this is the probabilistic model, and we have many clustering. And based on the your requirement, you can choose your clustering methods. So hidden Markov model is one of the model you can apply, and you can test your model. Then sometime based on the hit and trial methods, based on the other information domain knowledge, you can improve the model. So that is the thing. Not explored the hidden Markov model. I have not gone through the hidden Markov model. That's why I don't know much more about this hidden Markov model. Please tell me. So here, sir, in the K means clustering, how can we choose an optimal value for K as the number of cluster? So I have already discussed in the presentation how you will choose the optimal number of cluster. Okay. So elbow method that you can choose the optimal number of cluster, but in some cases it is not coming properly. So you have to use some good algorithm for that one. Is the cluster is of the regular circle can be optimal solution can be guaranteed? No, because here it is that if the cluster is of the regular size like the circle, then can the optimal solution can be guaranteed. Anyway, I have said that the k-mean algorithm, it's dependent on that initialization of the solution. So every time whenever you run, you will get different algorithm. Even whenever you apply this genetic algorithm, particle sum optimization algorithm, you will get near optimal solution, but very difficult to get exact number of the solution. So it is not guaranteed. Okay. So why we are using these algorithm? Because within the uh, short time span, we will get the considerable solution. Okay, so given the about the acceptance precision value range for the good training problem. See, whenever your machine learning perform more than 80% accuracy, so that is considered at that your model is performing well. But based on the only precision, you cannot say, because whenever your data is imbalanced, you will get something imbalance value. Imbalance value means your precision will be high, your recall will be the less, like that. So based on, if you are getting the precision and recall both value in the balanced way, means nearer, then you can say that your data is balanced. And if you get okay, both near to equal and your F1 score is more than 80%, so in the most of the, not for all problem, but you can say in the most of the problem, you can say that it is okay. Because suppose you are dealing with a breast cancer, okay, so there we need very very high accuracy for the model, even not 99%, because more than 99.99%, because very few got that breast cancer. Okay, so you suppose you have the data, so that much high accuracy will be required. So that is whatever the training data you will get, that is imbalance basically, because we have very less sample of the breast cancer. So you have to somehow, you have to apply some methods to make it balance, then you have to apply your machine learning model. What is your opinion about the machine learning project about the COVID? Okay, that is good. Many are doing that one, and many has given their considerable contribution in this regard. So even government of India long back invited for this project as well. So that is very nice. You can get data and you can go ahead with that. So if you want to choose the best classifier, so it is, see, first thing is that you have to prepare your data. Then you have to somehow see through the hit and trial methods that which classifier is working well, because each classifier has their own advantages and disadvantages. So you cannot say that every time for every problem this classifier will work well always. No, you cannot say, because every algorithm has their own advantages and disadvantages. So you have to something practice this one. You have to, based on the existing literature, based on your domain knowledge, based on the data, and you have to check all these things. Then you have to apply the different classifier. Then you have to analyze that why it is giving best or poor. Okay, so all these, based on that you can able to choose your classifier. Even you require to modify somehow, sometime you require to modify the classifier based on your problem. So you cannot directly say that, okay, just apply this k-means algorithm or genetic algorithm. You have to improve as per your requirement as well. Okay, so I think there are now no question in the chat box. Okay, thank you everyone. In case of any query, you can send a mail. If you have any query now, you can ask. Otherwise, thank you so much.
Sir,
Thank you.
thank you so much, sir. On behalf of Computer Science and Engineering Department, College of Engineering, Kidangu, we all thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And thank you all participants.
Thank you for your coordination, and thank you all participants. Thank you very much.